everyone, I'm Liz Burrell and welcome to the Big Green Egg Grilling Show. Each week it's our goal to inspire new ideas for grilling, smoking, roasting, or baking on your egg, as well as tips, tricks, and of course, great cooking segments. During each show, we'll introduce you to new Big Green Egg accessories and how best to use them, as well as answer cooking questions sent to various social media channels, as well as mailbag at biggreenegg.com. Now, today we have something very special in store. Chef and owner of Restaurant X, Nick Leahy, is going to be cooking up some beautiful Niceland Arctic char. Now, doesn't that sound absolutely phenomenal? I'm excited about it. Y'all should be excited about it. I can't wait to see how it turns out. Before we turn it over to Nick, let's go ahead and get to those mailbag questions that we have today. So today we've got Jack from Dallas. I'm hosting a dinner party / backyard barbecue for the first time and I'm nervous. How do I make sure I knock it out of the ballpark and impress my friends? Any suggestions on what I should cook? Great question, and you know what? Don't be nervous because most likely they're going to be impressed no matter what you do. For dinner parties, I like to do a couple of appetizers. You can do bacon-wrapped water chestnuts with some seasoning on the bacon. That's always a really good one to do. You can do grilled romaine lettuce, which nobody ever expects. Smoke some wings. You could do stuffed burgers. There's all sorts of things that you could do, but make sure that you try to stick to, an appetizer, have, some sort of sides or salad, and then move on into your protein. Now, if you really want to impress them, do a dessert on the egg. You can do a skillet cookie. You could do a pie. You could do cupcakes. You can do whatever you want. You can bake on the egg just like you can do it in your oven. So don't be nervous. Stay positive, and I guarantee you that you're going to knock it out of the ballpark with your friends. Question number 2 is Myers from Alberta. I want to smoke octopus. How do I do that? Interesting question. Octopus is an interesting seafood, definitely, but you can smoke it. Now, the way that I would do it is set up your egg indirect just like you would for any other smoking protein, and we're going to use one of our perforated half grid pans. Now, these are actually meant for your egg expander. We've got the large here and the extra large, and as we know, that's all we have for the expander right now. Now, because of the size of the extra large perforated half grid, you can use it on the 2X as well. Now, what we're going to do is put our octopus on our perforated half grid pan, set our egg up for indirect at about 225 to 250 degrees, and add some smoking chips in there. I would go with a lighter smoking chip, maybe pecan or cherry, maybe applewood. You don't want anything too strong. And we're just going to smoke that octopus for about 45 minutes to an hour, or until the flesh cuts through very easily with a knife. Make sure it's not rubbery. So check on it, every 10 to 15 minutes. Test it with the knife after 30 minutes, and then you're good to go. Now, once you remove it from the egg, you can season it further, you can sear it, you can do whatever, throw it in a cast iron skillet, and add your seasonings, garlic, olive oil, whatever you want to it, or you can serve it just as it is. So there you go. That's how you would smoke your octopus. And if that's not enough for you, you can always look online, check out other videos just to see what will work best for you. So that's it for our mailbag questions today. Let's go ahead and throw it over to Nick inside the Culinary Center.
Hi, Nick Leahy from X Restaurant here in Atlanta at the Culinary Center for Big Green Egg, and today we're going to be cooking some Niceland Arctic char. This is actually one of my favorite fish. We serve it at the restaurant, and I think it's a very underrated fish, and it's a perfect fish to cook on the Big Green Egg because of two factors. One, it's got a beautiful fat content, which means that with the direct heat, sort of high heat cooking, it'll stand up to it really well, stay nice and moist. And then the other thing is it's got a really nice delicate skin, so it'll crisp up really quickly on the egg and give you some nice textural contrast. One of the things when you're dealing with a fattier fish, so we do have a high fat content, which is great for moisture, but you don't want the overall feel of the dish to get too oily or too rich. So we're going to do a few things to introduce some acid into the dish to help cut through that. The first thing we're going to do is just add a little lemon zest to the fish itself. This will actually sear into the fish as it's cooking, so you get a little pop of the acid and the essential oil from the lemon while it's going, and it'll also just help the mouthfeel overall. So you want to have a nice fine microplane. You don't want one of the ones that'll take off really thick pieces, because those can get a little bitter. So just a little bit on the skin side, and give it a quick press in, and then flip it over, and give it another little bit of zest. And you can do other things in here, like a little bit of minced garlic would be nice and stuff like that, just not too much. You don't want to overpower the fish. I always say when you're cooking fish, less is more, especially with a beautiful, clean flavored fish like this. You don't want to add too many things to the plate to overpower it. One thing we're going to do really quick is we're just going to trim off this tiny little belly piece here. There's nothing really wrong with it. It just can get a little tough during cooking. And it also helps even out your fillet, so you'll get a nice consistent cooking temperature. We will season the fish with salt when we go to the egg, but you don't want to do it right now, because that would draw water out of the fish, and that means when you put it on the egg, you have a greater chance of your skin sticking. So you want to pat your skin dry right before you put it on the egg and season then. The other nice thing about char is it's an incredibly quick cooking fish. So you're talking about just a matter of minutes on each side on the egg, and then you're eating dinner. So what we're going to do is make all of the rest of the dish ahead of time. And for such a beautiful fish like this, I really don't want to do much to overpower it. So we're going to make a very simple lemon and herb sauce, and then a very simple citrus and herb salad. That'll just complement the fish, cut through some of the fat, like I said. So here we just have some parsley. And the first thing we're going to do is just pick a few of the leaves out. You don't have to be too fine with this, just take out any thick stems. But the parsley has a really nice sort of clean herby flavor that'll go really nicely in our salad. Yeah, so you don't want something like that in there, but any sort of the leaf with a little bit of the bottom stem is fine. And then we've got some really nice blood oranges, and what we're going to do is take out supremes of the blood orange. It's nice because you don't get any of the pith or bitter this way. So just take your paring knife. And you don't want to use a really big knife for this because you're doing kind of fine work, so actually the bigger blade is going to get in your way. Just come through and start peeling off the skin, and make sure you're getting any little bits of the pith that stay on like that. And then what you're going to do is come down in between each of the segments and just take out what's known as the supreme, just like that. And one other little pro tip, don't throw this away. There's a lot of different things you can do with this, but one of my favorite things to do, especially with the blood orange, because you have a really nice aroma and balance of acid and sweetness, is you could pack this into a jar with some vinegar and let it sit for about a week, and then you'd have a really nicely infused blood orange vinegar. Or you could take this, cook it down in equal parts sugar and water, and make a blood orange simple syrup, and that way you'll have a blood orange simple syrup that you can add to whatever cocktail you're having while you grill out on your egg, and make it an even nicer grilling experience for yourself. But for now, since this isn't a cocktail class, we'll just pop that over there. Okay, so now we have our nice little bit of picked parsley. We have our orange supremes, a little bit of the juice in there. I'm gonna add just a quick little glug of olive oil. Pinch of salt, and then we're just going to shave a few radishes into there too, just to give it some texture. I think the sliced radishes look pretty. Okay, and now we're going to build a quick little sauce for the dish. So we're going to take the rest of our parsley, and now you do want your big knife, and we're just going to give it a rough chop. For this one, stems, it's all good. There's great flavor in parsley stems, and this is kind of a rustic dish anyway, so you don't have to be too fine with it. Okay. Now we have a little bit of serrano pepper sliced up. A little bit of heat in the dish is nice. It's another way you can cut through some of that rich and fattiness from the fish. You could use jalapeno or sort of whatever pepper you like the heat level of. I like a bit of heat, so a Serrano is a good one. And then again, take a nice little bit of olive oil. And then I have a little bit of white balsamic vinegar here. You could use any sort of lighter vinegar. You wouldn't want to use a dark balsamic or like a red wine, but you could use a white wine, white balsamic, cider, anything like that. And then just a couple cloves of roasted garlic. Just smash them with the end of your knife. I like having roasted garlic around because a lot of times the flavor of garlic's nice in a dish, but you don't necessarily want the real punchy, hot, raw garlic flavor. So we usually do a big batch of it at the restaurant and then have it on hand so that we can use it for anything. And then juice and zest of a lemon. And then just stir that round with your spoon. And it's important to do this before we go to cook the fish because you want these flavors to sit together for 10 or 15 minutes so they can sort of meld and start getting happy together. So that's all you're really looking for is a nice sort of little bit of body, nice rough sauce verte, which means green sauce in French. You know, it's very technical. Now we're ready to go put the fish on the grill.
Nick, that absolutely looks fantastic. I cannot wait to see the finished result. And while we're waiting on Nick to finish getting ready to cook, let's go ahead and go into our tips from the experts. Today we're going to be talking about our disposable drip pans for the Big Green Egg. Now these will go on top of your convector, of course with the convector's legs up, or on our half moon baking stones inside of our expander basket. Now we use these, it's just a way to keep your convector completely clean. Obviously nothing's going to go through this. Very, very easy, disposable like I said, and you can actually use these to bake in also. So I've done brownies in this, you can do cookies in this. You know, you could use it to put your, you know, baking your steaks on or whatever if you're doing a reverse sear, if you don't want to get your grill grid dirty. So there's multiple different uses for this. They do come in multiple different sizes. Right now we have the extra large and the large. And if you're interested in this, definitely give it a try. I love them. I use them every time that I cook, especially when I'm doing a pork butt, brisket, or smoking a turkey or smoking a chicken. It's so much better for the cleanup, and it's just a wonderful product. So let's get on and move outside to Nick. We're going to check out what he's doing with this beautiful Arctic char. I'm excited about it, so let's get on outside.
Okay, so we've got our egg right about 400 degrees here. We have our char ready to go on the grill. Like I said, this is a quick cooking fish. One of the things you want to do before you put it on is just pat it dry so any little excess moisture is off the skin, because that could cause it to stick. It'll also help us as we go to put our salt on, because it'll help it stick to the actual fish itself. And just pat it in there. We did give the grill just a very light brush with olive oil, and you want to do that ahead of putting the fish on so it has time to be on there, but it won't cause a flame up on your fish, because you don't want to get that sort of char acrid flavor. And then just lay your char down. The biggest key to cooking this fish properly is to not move it too early. You know, I see so many people when they're grilling really anything but fish with skin on, it's very important. You really have to just let the fish sit there. If you start moving it too early, then the sear hasn't had time to take into effect, which means you haven't gotten a crust formed, and it means that most of your skin is going to stay there on your grill as opposed to coming away with your fish. You don't need to move this fish around to cross-hatch the skin or anything. Just let that fat render through and get that skin nice and crispy. And when we start seeing the cook start creeping up the sides towards the top of the fish, we'll flip it over for a quick finish, and then we'll be ready to eat dinner. Our first step is just going to be putting some of our sauce down, but just sort of spread it along the board so it'll be a little bit in each bite of the fish. That way, you know, you'll get that flavor the whole way through. And we'll just come in. And you can see our skin is beautifully crisped up. It's one of the best parts about the fish is it has such a nice light thin skin that it just crisps up beautifully, and it's actually the best part of the whole fish. And now to finish the dish, we have this nice simple bright blood orange parsley and radish salad. We're just going to run that down the edge of the fish. One thing when you're doing a fish with skin on, you don't want to put anything really on top of that skin afterwards. One of the big mistakes I see people make is they do a good job getting that skin nice and crispy, but then they'll put their sauce all over the top of it, or they'll put a vegetable on top of it. And any liquid that's in these, so like the liquid from the oranges, it's going to soak in that skin and it's going to sort of counteract all that work you just put in to get it nice and crispy. So I like to just lay it nice and simply down the side. So it's easy to get a little bit in every bite, but we're not getting rid of all that beautiful crispy skin. And there you have it. Beautiful citrus rubbed Arctic char with sauce verte and a little blood orange salad on the grill. Big green egg.
Nick, that just looks absolutely fabulous. I'm so unbelievably impressed. I cannot wait to try that. Isn't it amazing what we can do on the Big Green Egg? Things that you would not normally expect, and Chef Nick definitely taught us something about that today. I hope that this has inspired you to try something new and different on your egg. And if you're not an egger yet, please head to biggreenegg.com where you can get online home delivery from a dealer in your community. Once again, I'm Liz Burrell for Nick Leahy. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and we'll see you next time when I have something special in store for you.
There's a place where fire and flavor are celebrated. Grill it, roast it, smoke it, or bake it. It's the most versatile grill you'll ever own. Have it delivered to your door by a certified dealer in your community and start enjoying the ultimate cooking experience. Visit biggreenegg.com.